Rocket star Alperen Sengun suffered potentially 2 injuries to his right lower leg as a result of this play at the end of tonight's game against the Kings. And in this video, we'll take a closer look at what exactly might have happened to both his knee and his ankle. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer, and my goal on this channel is to help teach you about the medical side of the sports world. So in this video, let's take a look here at this unfortunate sequence here for Sengun. And initially, we saw him down on the court. He was grabbing at his right knee. But as we look back on the replay, it actually looks like there's both injury potential to the right knee as well as to the right ankle. So the first obvious thing we can see here, of course, is that significant amount of ankle inversion. So in this position, when the ankle is in a neutral plane, as it rolls outward to the side, that's going to be ankle inversion, stretching those lateral ankle, typical low ankle sprain ligaments, resulting in, at a minimum, an ankle sprain. But of course, with these types of mechanisms, with this much twisting of the ankle, you can always also have a fracture or potentially injuries to the tendon. So the first thing that we didn't even see him grabbing here that might also come up in the evaluation is a typical lateral inversion ankle sprain or potentially fracture to that lower end of the fibula bone on the outside of the ankle. But the other thing that I suspect happened with his knee is because of a hyperextension and a little bit of more pronounced varus stretch. So varus is whenever the knee bends outward. So here in this position, the knee is in the neutral plane if you were to look straight on at him from the front. So then as we progress through this, we see how his knee goes out in this direction relative to that nice neutral plane. So that's going to be a varus position, and that varus position is going to stress the structures, the ligaments on the outer part of the knee, and it's going to put compression or pressure on the inner part of the knee. If you look at this view from down under the basket, we can see the same sort of thing. So here as he lands, we don't catch his ankle in this view, but we can see that amount of hyperextension where that knee buckles backwards, combined with how awkwardly that knee goes outward into varus. So when he comes down here, the LCL, the lateral collateral ligament, those structures on the outer part of the knee are going to be stretched whenever you go into varus with the knee moving outward, and you're going to put compression or pressure on the inside of the knee. Now, this looks to me like more of a forced kind of varus position rather than just a severe amount of hyperextension. So I'm hopeful that we're not dealing with as much potential for something like an ACL tear, but when we have hyperextension, it can always be really hard to predict how severe the ligament injuries in the knee might be. Looking at our biodigital anatomy tool here at our right knee, we've got all the different various ligament soft tissue structures throughout the knee. So here, patella in the front, let's go ahead and hide that so we can see everything else. And then on the outside here of the knee, as we zoom in, we're going to have, of course, the fibula bone up at the top. So that's the little bone you can feel protuberance on the outer part of your knee. And then we're going to have all these various ligaments. Now, the main one is the LCL, the lateral collateral ligament that I've highlighted right here. So when the knee goes into varus, the knee is going out in this direction, which is going to put tension on that LCL, tension on those outer structures of the knee, while it compresses and puts pressure on the inside structure of the knee. So you can get bone bruising from the inner parts of the knee bumping together really hard that can be really painful. And also when you just have a hyperextension, you get compression in that front part of the knee as well, which can also cause a significant amount of bone bruising in addition to stretching some of the capsular tissues, things like this oblique popliteal ligament in the backside. And so LCL is the main ligament that I would think of. Severe bone bruising potential on the inner front part of his tibia from how that knee bent. But then the other thing, of course, we talked about down at the ankle, those potential injury to the ankle ligaments. The other thing I'll mention, if we swing around here to a left side, whenever you put that amount of varus stress and you also invert your ankle, you're going to be pulling and putting a lot of tension on this group of muscles and tendons called the peroneal muscles and tendons. There's the peroneus longus, the peroneus brevis. This is what LeBron is dealing with for his tendinopathy. Not only do you put tension on that whenever you invert your ankle, but then when you add in that varus, you put even more stress and tension on those muscles, potentially leading to a muscular strain or a tendon injury. So a lot of stuff going on here with Sengun in terms of injury potential. I will say though, I think the ankle sprain, and even that in of itself, probably is not something that he's going to be thinking about till he gets back in the locker room. That could on its own be a month absence. When you add in the amount of likely bone bruising, potential LCL injury that he could have at his knee, I think at a minimum, we're looking at least a couple weeks, a few week absence here. I'm hopeful that he avoided anything major in terms of like a surgical injury at the knee, just because the amount of hyperextension doesn't look that significant and there was really not as much valgus position. But I will warn you, with these hyperextensions, all bets honestly are off. It's really hard to predict just based on the way it looks. We all remember what Giannis looked like, and he only missed like 7 or 10 days. So hyperextension is the mechanism of the injury. Also excessive varus. That can result in ligament injuries in the knee, but very hard to predict. I think at a minimum, LCL, bone bruising on the inside of the knee. And what's still to be determined is if there's also something like an ACL or a PCL tear. Don't forget about the ankle as well, because even though he wasn't grabbing at his ankle, could definitely be injured based on that inversion that we saw. So hopefully that was helpful for Rockets fans. Sorry, I can't give you more of a predictive timeline because, again, very tough to say with these hyperextension types of things. We've got stuff going on at the ankle. We've got some hyperextension, excess varus at the knee. So the door really is open for a lot of really significant stuff. But I think at a minimum, you've got the bone bruising, you've got those sprains, probably at least looking at a couple of weeks. And when it comes down to time in the standings and left in the season, that could also influence what we see here going forward. Let me know as always any questions or comments down below. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.